Hello, everyone. I am Sweetie Tamford.
And I'm Iman Ian.
Welcome to Sweetie and Iman Studio. Hi, Iman. How are you doing today?
Hey, Sweetie, I'm doing fine. Yourself?
I'm doing okay.
Okay, so listen, a lot of things happening in the world, I don't know. What happened to the children? I noticed lately I don't see a lot of children anymore. I live in a pretty decent neighborhood, I say. And,
Yeah.
driving back and forth, going, to and fro wherever I'm going. I notice I hardly ever see children anymore. Like,
Yeah.
like when we were growing up, you see children playing and, what they call
Right.
it?
In the park maybe, and just what game?
Right.
Whatever
Whatever,
game, yeah.
right. I just
Yeah.
don't see children.
I don't either.
I'm
I don't
thinking,
know.
what, the Pied Piper came for them? I don't know, where are the children?
They're in the house. That's what they are.
Okay.
It's just very sad. I noticed that also.
You notice, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it, especially if we see children, we're like, oh my God, they're kids. It makes us feel happy.
Right.
But we don't see them so often, and I do not know what's going on because I remember before with children, you used to see them outside playing and
Right.
just having a good time. I'm not sure. You don't think it's a pandemic that did it, right? Or it's before that it's been happening.
I'm not too sure, but I just started noticing right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I know you have a lot of predators out there, stuff like that. But of course, children outside play with adult supervision.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't see
Yes.
none of that happening. So I'm just curious. Anybody out there could
Yeah.
tell me what's going on?
Yes.
What do you think? You think-
Well, I think what's going on, like you mentioned, children do need adult supervision.
Right.
And I think what happened is a lot of times, parents, they used to just leave their children out there to play. And you can't just leave them out there anymore like that
Right.
because, people to snatch them.
Yeah, predators.
So you
right?
have to watch them. I'm not talking about watching from through the window. You need to be out there to make sure that your children are safe.
Right.
Because there's so much bad stuff that's been happening
Yeah,
and we
I know.
don't want that to happen. So I'm not sure if maybe the parents, they are inside the house, the children are inside the house, everybody doing their own thing. Maybe social media, they're on social media.
Probably
They
that's
are.
what's going
A lot
on.
of those mothers and fathers, they're becoming big stars on TikTok and doing silly stuff. I
Yeah,
don't know,
no, I
and they're
know.
occupied themselves so much indoors and not realizing how beautiful is it out there to really enjoy the beautiful weather. And I really need to see children outside.
Right. To be
Yeah.
honest, this is just my opinion. I really, I strongly, believe that
Yes.
social media is robbing the children of their childhood.
I think so.
You get what I'm saying?
There's too much going on.
It doesn't
with the
make any
kids.
sense,
Yeah, they need to,
Yeah.
it's a way of developing, right? And I think it starts with, being in the park and playing and with your friends. I
Yeah.
understand they go to school and they play together, but at the same time, of course, they do have neighborly friends, friends that they could play with also, and
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, we.
yeah,
Of course, we all went to school, and we have our classmates, school friend, friends at school.
exactly.
But also when at home, we have our own friends at home also too.
Yeah.
In the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah.
So kind of get a balance there. But I
Yeah.
guess, like I said, with social media, the
It's not the
children,
same.
everyone doing their own thing. So I guess who cares about playing games outside when they could be on your computer?
Oh yeah, I
And
mean,
doing your thing. So I guess that's just the way of the world now. That's just how it is, you know what I mean? And I guess we just have to adapt. We just have to get used to it. To me, it's sad because I'm not used to these things, you know what I mean? Yeah, I
yes.
grew up with technology too, but it just not to this extent where it just take over everything. Everything is just
That's
about
what it is.
technology.
Yeah.
Everything is just. I mean, technology is not bad, but things can be misused and abused.
Mhm.
So basically that's what I'm talking about.
Correct.
But to me,
Yeah.
it does. It's a nice feeling when you see children outside playing. To me, it's very therapeutic. To
Yes.
be honest,
Yeah.
when you hear children, but it's like you're just driving around and you don't see
Nothing.
them at all. And
Yeah.
to me, it just wow,
Yeah, I
what
remember.
a world, huh?
Yeah, I remember when they used to have a thing where, like at bookstores, they used to have children come together and they read a nice storybooks to them too, and you don't see that anymore. I
Yeah.
think they're closing a lot of these bookstores also because computer is taking over that.
Right.
They no longer have like real books like they used to. I mean, they're still out there, that you can read a really good book, which is very good for you.
Right.
But
right.
it's just that we are not seeing that so often. Everybody is so caught up, like
Right.
Ivan mentioned, on social media. Social media has become this big thing that no one is really out there enjoying life the way they should.
Right. I mean,
You know?
to them, this probably is enjoyment, and everybody, with computer, you have access to just about everything,
Right.
everything is just at your fingertip.
Correct.
So I guess, people just,
Yeah.
I call it morphing into, this
Something.
new, wave of technology,
Yeah.
lifestyle, you know what I mean? And of course, all of us, we into music, we
Yeah.
use technology too, so we're not,
Yeah, not at all.
isolating ourselves, from it. We're part of it too. But I'm
Correct.
just saying, it's just kind of sad how it's just
Yeah.
totally taking over
Everyone
to the
Yeah.
point where people
are just stuck on social media. And it's like they
Right, you
live on
know?
it. And you got to breathe. You got to go out, enjoy life, and be around other people.
right.
I know, a lot of things is happening, in the world, and a lot of people are getting scared, and a lot of people are very sensitive nowadays too. You
Yeah.
can't say certain things to people. Oh, you don't like gay people, or you don't like me because I'm, you get what I'm saying? Everybody's so sensitive. It's like you can't even talk anymore. Like you can't even be real because
Right.
anything you say, you probably could get arrested.
Yeah, I know. Well, the world,
Wow.
the world changed drastically.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, and I agree with you because even with just about everything, like you did mention, or people are sensitive. You did
Yes.
mention, gay people. I'm not gonna go into that, but that's just an example of what we're talking about. How
Exactly.
everybody is sensitive.
Yes.
Even back in the day. I mean, it's natural, for guys, male, a guy to be attracted, to a girl, a female, and vice versa. That's how that's how we know it used to go.
Yes.
We live in a time now, if a guy see a girl, sometimes you're afraid to even approach her, to even say, hey, how you doing? You're looking kind of nice. She could just turn that into sexual harassment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay, and everybody really know what sexual harassment is. Complimenting somebody, to me, that's not sexual harassment.
Right, exactly.
But the way, like you said, people are so sensitive nowadays. You can't even compliment somebody anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? And what kind of world is this we're living in?
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays.
Oh, definitely. And you just have to be very careful. I know that you do, but at the same time, we have this big world, and it's beautiful out there, and it's these beautiful green grass or something. Try to find something that make you happy instead of just social media. Social media is not the end of it, right? There's so much good stuff out there. You can go and travel. You can go to different, even just walking in your neighborhood or some. Okay, so if you're not living in a neighborhood that you felt like, hey, I can't walk in this neighborhood. If you have a car, you do not. You get out of that neighborhood, go somewhere and feel that moment or feel happy, or something, instead of just stuck on social media. That is not really doing too much for you.
Well,
Okay.
I have news for you. The sad thing about it, that's the life people chose.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the grass and sea, the breeze and walk on the beach. Some people don't care about those things.
Yeah, I guess.
Some people, their life is revolve around social media. That's it. That's what bring them happiness. That's what they want.
Okay.
They don't care about nothing else. You know what I mean?
So they sleep, eat, and
social
everything,
media.
Social media. Okay, but I don't think it's that healthy.
Well, okay, so of course another thing that people indulge in is not healthy, but like I said, some people chose that lifestyle, what I mean? And we us talking about that,
Yes.
some people probably look at us and say, what the hell wrong with them?
Right.
Get to the
true.
program, you know what I mean?
That's
We
true.
are with the program, but
We are.
but the program doesn't control us,
That's
so to
right.
speak,
That's right.
Like I said, we big on technology. We also part of this technology
Right.
stuff that's going on, but it doesn't dictate and control us. You know what I mean? We can separate ourselves from it when necessary.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
It's called control.
Yeah,
and I think
right.
a lot of people do not have that type of control.
Right.
I understand there are some people who they have a job. It's social media. They have to be on there. They have to do what they
Right.
have to do. But what I'm saying is that there's still a life out there that after social media that they can go out and have a good time, go on a cruise with their family or do something than just social media. That's all we're saying. Because I remember there's a story.
Okay, all that before we get to the story. Okay, so you did mention about going cruise. Okay, so everybody cannot afford
No, not but
going
I'm
on a
just
cruise.
giving an example.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
example, read a book.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Right, you don't have to go on a cruise because everybody cannot afford that.
Right.
But you could if you could go to a library, a public library, or if you have books in your house, in your home, then read a book or something and take a break. You know what I mean?
That is true.
So that's what we're talking about. Okay.
That is true. And with social media, people are doing a lot of stuff on social media. They're being very tricky with stuff, or they call it catfish, where they act as if they're something they're not until you meet them in real life.
Okay, so you said tricky. I said deceptive, deceiving people. Yeah, well, that's just part of the game with technology and stuff like that.
Right.
Just like people filter their picture.
Yes.
And when you see them in real life, they look nothing like that. You know, that's just part of, that's why we're having this conversation. We're talking about how technology, totally, take over people's lives and people just become it.
Yes.
And they don't have room for nothing else, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah. And to me, that's just very, very unfortunate.
It is unfortunate for the ones who discovered that they have been catfished. That's what they called it. Because this guy, one of our fans, mentioned something about that. Went on a date. He was talking to this girl on Facebook. Everything was going great. He was in love with her. He saw her pictures. They communicate very well on the phone and everything. Until it was time for them to meet each other, and she wasn't the person
that she supposed to be,
right?
At least to him.
Totally, yes. Her appearance is totally different compared to. She said as her. The picture, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it probably was her.
Yes, it's her, but she just happened to be obese, and he felt like in some way that, of course she deceived him, right?
Right, that's not a representation of what she is now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, right. and it was a real big thing, and she was very upset. She felt like he's being disrespectful to a big woman, and it was really bad, to the point where this poor guy now is seeing a therapist.
Right. But anyway, the bottom line is, that was totally wrong. You don't deceive people.
That's a part of social media. That's what happened.
They don't get upset when they don't accept what they see.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If you put out something that looks very enticing to somebody, then when you show up in person, is obviously not the same. Then what do you expect? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
definitely deceiving.
Right. Okay. Anyway, guys, so we're gonna wrap this show up.
Definitely.
And we'll see you. Catch you inside.
You guys so much for tuning in. I am Sweetie Tamford.
And I am Iron.
One love.